Join us, the Humanitarian Heartbeat Podcast, on a journey where we delve into the heart of the matters that truly make a difference. Our mission is to create a platform where we can openly discuss topics that often go unnoticed or unexplored. We aim to shed light on these crucial issues and have meaningful conversations. We invite you to tune into our podcast, where we will explore the depths of these subjects and let our hearts guide the conversation. Together, we can create a space where everyone's voice is heard and where we can collectively work towards a better future. Welcome, everyone, to the Humanitarian Heartbeat Podcast. I am your girl, Nia Imani, and I have the pleasure of interviewing this beautiful person, Sharon Daniel. Thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's always so good to see your face.
You look like you just came out of like a movie or something.
Oh my gosh, no, this is all fake. It's not real. Don't believe the illusion.
You are hilarious. Everybody, I am going to tell you why Sharon is so amazing. I'm going to read the bio, and you guys are just going to be like, I need to order from her. I need her at my wedding. I need her at my event. I need her at my birthday party. And this is why. Sharon Daniel is the founder of The Gathering Table, a charcuterie, there you go, company that celebrates the art of hosting. The Gathering Table loves to celebrate and create memorable moments with you and your guests by providing beautiful spreads using artisanal. You guys, she's gonna kill me. She's like, how does she not know this word?
It's fine. It's really fine.
Ingredients, beautiful ingredients, needed ingredients.
Needed. We do need them.
We do need them. Of delectable, I can say that word, of delectable meats and cheeses. Everyone, Sharon Daniel, The Gathering Table, charcuterie board. She is amazing. My first question is, what made you want to create The Gathering Table? Why?
I was at a place in my life where I was in between jobs. I was looking for a new job, and I didn't want to step into the same kind of job I had before. I think I was like totally burnt out, and I just didn't want to feel that same burnt out, mundane energy. It just felt very monotonous. And I've always considered myself as somebody who is like a very analytical like person, someone who just like wants to be able to do some of the things behind the scenes. I never considered myself as like creative. Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy because now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely a creative person. I was creating charcuterie boards for people just like as something to bring to someone's house when you go and see them or a party. And as I was looking for jobs, like all of my friends and families, like, you should do this. Like, you're good at this. Like, people hire you for their weddings. And of course, you know, when you're first starting anything, there's going to be that self-doubt, like, I can't do this. Like, I do this for fun. This is a hobby. I can't make it into a business. There's no way. And, you know, the people around me just kept supporting me and pushing me towards it. And once I did, like that first year, I was like, I cannot believe people are I could not believe that like people like actually wanted to buy from me and they loved it. And like that was just really, really cool. So just even starting out, I think it really felt like I like gave myself a chance, and doing that opened all of these doors, and that's really, really cool.
I love that. I wonder, was it hard though to tap into it? Because you said you're very analytical and now you're completely creative. Like even when you initially started and you just bring it to family gatherings and things like that, was that initial process hard, or it wasn't hard because you were just bringing it for family and friends?
Yeah, I think I was just, it felt such low stakes, right? Like you're just bringing it to a friend or family, and like so much of it is just like it's just like anything else with design. Like you just kind of have to do it and you're playing with it. So none of it feels hard. It just is, it's such an enjoyable thing to do. And because so much of it is like about presentation, it feels exciting to bring to someone's house. It's kind of like when you like buy somebody a gift, like you're excited for them to open it. So I think just starting out, when I was doing it, I was getting such great feedback. And initially, if it's your friends and family, you're probably like, "You're just being nice."
Yeah.
But I really did watch people enjoy it, and that part of it too feels really good. Like if you're good at something and people really appreciate you for it, it kind of makes it all the better. So it doesn't ever feel hard. It just feels like I'm excited for the next one. I think I always feel that way for every single board, every single order. I'm always like, oh my God, I'm so excited for the next one.
I love that. Where did your love of sort of, it's not helping others, but wanting people, like serving others, where did your love come from, where it's like, I want to serve you something that's not only looks beautiful, but is healthy for you and is nourishing for you? Where did that love come from?
It's really hard to say, like pinpoint a specific time, because I just feel like it's a part of me, and it's only a part of me because of the way that I grew up and the culture that I'm a part of. I mean, our culture is like, I'm an Indian person, like our family's from South Asia, and so much of our culture is about service. It's about people. We are a very subservient kind of culture that really cares about family and community. I mean, we're a collective kind of society in that part of the world, right? So like everything about that kind of culture, it's about all of us. And I was just raised that way. And it's not even exclusive to my family. Like if you look at any other person in our community, like they were also raised that way. It was very much like, my home is your home. Like we eat together. And my mom is definitely the pillar for that. She is somebody that really cares about hosting. She's the person that's going to, get the right plates and utensils and napkins. It's really important that she gets like the perfect candle for the event. That like all of the parts of the food really matters. And she doesn't skimp out on any parts of it. There's no part of it that she's like, oh, it's fine. Like that's not a big deal. Like it all matters. And I think that like when you're a good host, like she is a really good host. When you're a good host, you understand why all of the little things matter, because it feels like a puzzle, like if you just kind of not like really worry about one piece, like it doesn't come together the same way. Like there's something like you don't get the same fulfillment when you're like finish the puzzle.
Right.
So like I really recognize that like growing up, and we were a part of that. There was no part like since we were a young age, we were always helping my mom, whether it was cooking or serving, and she was definitely the kind of person that was like, these cups are like specifically for tea, and
I love it.
For this, and then this is just for water.
I love it.
Like she was that person, and
I love that.
It kind of just becomes a part of you when you grow up that way, and you really start to consider others and everything that you do. Like it's important. It's like, oh, I do remember that person talking about like they're gluten-free, or oh, I remember that person said they love that brand of chips, or like that bread is really good, and like that it has this specific spice. I wonder if that would remind that person of like their childhood. Like,
Right.
Like she's like that, and I think like we also kind of inherited that gift too.
I love that. I feel your energy from the screen. And it's more so, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're showing love to other people too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Food is so much like that. I think that like that when you serve someone something, you make something. I mean, like that's what people say. Like when people eat something good, they're like, this was made with love. Like when you think about home cooked meals from like
Uh-huh.
your family, you people always say like that phrase is like, this was made with love. I think that that is one of like the most loving things that you can
Yeah.
do is just
Yeah.
like create food and make it specifically for somebody. And I think that's it's such a we might not like
Hmm.
really recognize that all the time because
Yeah.
like you're eating at least 3 times a day. And
Yes.
so it's maybe just going over your head like I
Yeah.
just eat, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
thank you for my meal and let me move on.
Yeah.
But I really notice it especially when you watch somebody like do
Mm.
it and you watch them plate. You're like, this is for me. Like you're going out of your way for the china. You're like being very meticulous about like where things belong and you know, you're getting ready to put like syrup on something and like plate it
Ooh.
real nice. Like this is for me. You're considering
Yeah.
me. The
Wow.
consideration is love, you know?
I love that you said that you're considering me. That's deep to
Yeah.
consider somebody. And like you said, know the specifics, gluten free or this or that. Like, wow. I
Yeah,
just
I think people just want to feel like, you know, like you see them, you remember them. Like I'm
mm,
sure like you've experienced this too, where like maybe like you like were talking to somebody and you had a conversation and you mentioned a detail and then like the next time you saw that person, they remember that and you're like, whoa, you remember that about me?
yeah.
Like, thanks so much. You feel kind
Yeah.
of special, right?
I love that. That's so important. That just warmed my heart. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
How do you know how to plate and how to
Mhm.
make the strawberry go with this cheese or what type of cheese and how
Yeah.
how in the
Well,
world?
definitely research for sure. Like there's so much like, you know, we have the gift of social media and so like it's at our fingertips, right? Like if you
Mhm.
want to know something, it's there.
Right.
So there's definitely that. It's amazing because sometimes when I look back on when I first started making charcuterie, like how I do it now is completely different.
Really?
How I style it now is so different. And like things have just changed like aesthetically and not just even in your own taste but within the industry and what food has become. So you know you're grabbing inspiration from everywhere, right? Like even when you just go to a restaurant you're like, whoa, that this person plated this in this way. um, it makes it all the more appetizing. It like
Mhm.
elevates your experience when you notice that like, oh, there was time taken out for this meal, you know? And when you notice those kinds of things, like it's hard not to incorporate it in your own life, you
Mhm.
know? Like
Mhm.
I'm like that when I just like cook a meal for somebody, like here it is. But when I plate it for myself, it's not at
You
all.
just put it on there?
I just put it on. It's because it's for me. But you know,
Uh-huh.
sometimes when like I'm like I'm gonna like plate it real nice for
Yes.
myself, I'll do it for sure. But you know, all of those things like really matter. And you know, the cheese pairings and all of that, like I think of course, like researching and seeing like what works. But I think when you just try different things and you have experienced it for yourself, and it's not just like ingredients on a piece of paper, this
Right.
is what goes with this, but you try it for yourself, it kind of just opens up your eyes to like really see things more broadly. And
Mhm.
you really understand, like, oh my gosh, every flavor it matters, like all of it matters. I think you have to experience something like food, like you have to experience. It's not one of those things like it's not like building furniture, you
Right.
know? It's not like just read the directions and then it'll happen. It's like you got to try every part of it and see what works, because that's the part that like really helps the creativity portion of building a charcuterie board.
I love that. And like you said, it's all over social media, but what I love about your company, first of all, the name. When I think about gathering, it's automatically positive. The people
Yeah.
that I have gathered with, I laughed. It's
Yeah.
been an intimate experience. It wasn't 1,000 people.
Right.
We shared stories. We listen and we don't judge.
Right.
It
Exactly.
was it was touching, touch somebody's shoulder or hug them.
Yeah.
And that's what you bring. It's a
Mhm.
moment of calm and peace, and
Yeah,
a moment of intentional being.
exactly. Exactly that. I'm so glad that you can like recognize that just even off of the name. Like that makes me feel so like, oh, like we got it on target. Like we did it. And that's really great because that's exactly how I feel. Like
Mhm.
everything you just expressed, like
Yeah,
that's how I feel when it's because it's not like it's a party, you
right.
know? That like party brings a different energy.
Correct.
Gathering really feels like this is like it's like 5 to 7 people, right? Like if there's
Yeah.
a specific feeling about that. And yeah, exactly what you said. I mean, like, I think when I think gathering and I think about the gatherings in my life, like they feel like they've like healed parts of me, you
Mm.
know? Like it really reminds you how powerful community is. It really
Mm.
reminds you of that. And it might be when you're first planning it out, you're not going into it like, we're looking for a healing experience with 5 to 7 people, you know? Like it's not like at least the ones I go to, you're
Yeah.
just like, hey, we're just trying to get people together. Like, bring this and like you bring this drink and like let's call it a day. But when you're there and you're there with genuine good people and like people are there for the right reasons and you have amazing food and drink, you're not leaving thinking about like, you know, hey, this is like we planned it this way, or this
Mm.
is just about the food and drink. You're reminded by like, oh my God, I laughed so hard with this
Mm.
person, or you know, like that. It feels so good to be around safe people, or
Mm.
it feels really good when like, you know, me and that person was at the kitchen and like we just vented to each other,
Mhm.
or it was so good to see that person. It hadn't been, you know, like those are the
Yeah.
kinds of things that you remember. And then you also talk about like how good the food is and stuff. But when you like check back into that memory years down the line, you can feel the memory. You can feel
Mhm.
it. And I think that that's what we want to bring. That's what we want to bring to people. That like, if I can bring that in a little box, great, right? Because that feeling you want to bottle.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody gets that feeling, and
Yeah.
everyone should have that.
I love that because once again, you brought up another point. I think maybe this world, this generation, there's a loss of community, there's a loss
Yeah.
of village, and sitting down to enjoy your meal, to actually
Right.
be grateful that you're eating something, because I'm always on the go. I'm just eating just to be full and then that's it.
Right. It's
But
like a chore.
yes,
Yeah.
but your intention of the name, of the way that you plate, it's I'm actually grateful that I'm looking at something beautiful. I'm intentionally and very I'm ingesting this food, but just sort of like, you know how when you taste wine, you like circle it and
Yeah.
then you sniff and then you
Yeah.
just sip a little bit. That's what you're sort of bringing, like
Right.
the steps of enjoying
Yeah.
nutritious foods.
Right. Yeah, it's the experience. And that's exactly what I want it to be. You know, I think when I thought about like putting this together,
Yeah.
you know, there's so many things. You're not just thinking about like this is what I want it to look like on Instagram, or this is what I want the font to be. Like more of it felt like, okay, I want to name this because I want this to feel this way. And what
Mm.
does it feel like? I want it to feel like truly like you said, we're always on the go and food can just feel like here's another task that I have to do. I want it to feel like take your coat off, sit down. Like charcuterie is not one of those things that's like fast food,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And I know that like even like there are some companies that are kind of making it that way, but like that's not really that's not my journey. Like
Yeah,
that's not me.
yeah.
Like I understand why that's appealing to some people, but like the point of what I care about and what we're trying to express here is sit down, take a minute,
Mhm.
right? Like you're not gonna like try to like shovel cheese and meat down your throat.
Yeah.
Like that's not one of those, this is not fast food. This is like sit down, take your time, like really intentionally pair things together and taste it
Mhm.
and be with people that would appreciate this with you and have conversation. Like that's what this is about. It kind of forces you to do that, right? Like cuz
Yeah.
because it's not designed for it to be fast.
Correct.
It's designed for you to take a seat. And I
Mhm.
think, you know, coming like post pandemic,
Mhm.
I think that really shifted in me
Yeah.
how important that is to like, hey, like none of this is going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just take a second. I'm definitely the go 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 kind of person.
Mhm.
The times that again when we think back to those memories,
Yeah.
those moments when we decided to sit down and take a second that like we really cherish, right? So let's do that. Like let's encourage people to do that.
I love that. Do you feel like, and you've mentioned this, that sort of the trend may be to make it easier, quicker.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that should be the goal, or the goal, like you said, to just sit down and relax? Like, are there trends that are going towards just make it fast food like anything else?
Yeah.
Or are the trends just to sort of stay consistent and stay in its own lane?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like with anything, there's always like within a niche, there's like another niche and another niche, right? Like people want to make it a little different. There's so many pros to that. Like that's the thing that's going to make it a little bit distinctive compared to
Yeah.
other businesses.
Yeah.
And that can be good. I think that I've definitely seen the trends where it's charcuterie, but it's kind of like Chipotle style, right?
Okay.
Like you can kind of come in and make your own box and customize it. And there's just a few cheeses, a few meats, and all the accoutrements that go along with it. And it's in a little box, and then you go.
Mhm.
And there are places like that, and there's definitely a customer base for sure.
Mhm.
And you know, most people like to customize things. There's
Yeah.
an appeal to that of just like, I want to make it my way. So I totally understand that industry. I think that, you know, people have asked me like, do you think that that's something you'd ever do?
Right, right.
And I don't want to ever say no, that like this will be never, but it kind of takes away from the mission of what we're trying to do. We're trying to encourage people to like enjoy it and
Yeah.
take a second to really appreciate it. I don't want to lean towards grabbing and go, like something that's meant to just sit down and like enjoy with wine and be with friends. You know, I don't want people, it's not like a eat in your car kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I do see that. And you know, it's not, I'm not like, you know, telling people not to do
Yeah.
it. um but it does kind of feel a little trendy, like
Understood.
that goes under trends when it
Yeah.
comes to food. Yeah.
Yeah. What have people said when they have hired you to do their weddings, their birthday parties, their business events? That experience of them seeing what you have created for them
Yeah.
and eating it, what have those responses been like?
Yeah. I will say, I mean, it's super fun to do something like this because you're creating something beautiful for people that also tastes really good. Um, so the presentation, like it has to be there, right?
Yeah.
Because like that, it's just as important as the food. So I think when I do it, you know, thankfully I've just gotten such positive feedback. Like people are generally like, whoa, you know, because what they're hiring you to do is put some cheese on a table, right? But like it's really hard to imagine like, wait, this is cheese? Like all of this is cheese? Like you made this like from fruit and meat and jam? Like these are all things that are accessible to people, but the design and stylistic portion is not really accessible to people. And to be able to see that this is something you can do and really elevate an event, that's really cool. And I can see that how that translates from like, I knew this, but now you're seeing this and now you're sharing that with me. I can see that happen in real time. And that's really awesome to be able to see like, oh, okay, like I can see why you appreciate my company now. And it's always so fun. And you know, it really is also something that's like, it's a little different than other things at your party. Not everybody's going to have like a grazing table at their party. you know, like normal party foods, like are the things that you expect. So it's also one of those things that is unexpected for your guests and kind of sets you apart,
Yeah.
which I think, well, everybody wants that, right? Like
Yes.
that's
I just love that because even when you did the one for Arvid,
yeah.
first of all, it looked so beautiful that I didn't want to touch it. But then
It's
it looked so
bag.
good. It looked so good that I wanted to eat it.
Right, yeah.
It was that and then it almost like depending on the setting. So in that setting, I felt like I was giving myself self-care. Like I felt like
Yeah.
I I had my jeans on and my heels. I had some, wine, and I felt like, okay, like this is where I need to be. This is what I deserve.
Exactly that.
But then at a wedding, you told me it was during the cocktail hour. That's perfect.
Oh yeah. I always encourage people to do that. And here are a few reasons why I do it. Like I think that I've been to, this is a part of being Indian, okay? And like I'm sure like other Indian people can attest to this. Like a part of our culture is to go to like 1,000 weddings within a lifetime. Like Indian people's like favorite hobby is to get married. Like I've been to like 1,000,000 weddings. And all of those weddings, like people go all out. Like there's not really any wedding that I've been to where I'm just like, oh, this is like kind of simple and small. Like it's crazy. And it's always fun to go to those kinds of weddings, right? Because they have like the works. But one of the things I noticed is like during cocktail hour, it's an hour, right? Cocktail hour.
Yes.
And during that time, there's probably 1,000,000 different stations of food, which is so fun. Yeah. I love those kinds of things, just to be able to try here and there. But you only have an hour. Yeah. And during that time, you're also drinking and talking. So you probably didn't get to every station. Yeah. And then you don't want to fill up too much because you're about to eat dinner. Right. So like there's all of these like different elements, and like almost every time I talk to someone who's like gotten married or is looking to get married, they're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of food left over. Yeah. Or we spent so much money on this, but like it was like 10% that maybe got eaten, right? It's not something that people are taking home with them. So I try to tell people that like when you're planning a wedding, you want it to go all out, but like the realistic part of it is also like, here's the thing, likely people are only going to be eating here and there, just enough to like keep them busy. And then like they're gonna go to the main event. So for your pocket, like this is a bang for your buck, like you're gonna get the cocktail hour, like the feast that you want. You're going to get like all of like the different kinds of cheeses and meats and fruits and all of that. And it's going to be decorated like you would like have it at a wedding. Yeah. And, it will be enough for people, and you will feel like, I'm so glad that most of that got eaten because we spent our money, but we didn't like spend an arm and a leg, it was still affordable. So it kind of feels like it's like a well-rounded, like it works. It feels like that makes sense, for a cocktail hour.
I love that. I love that. Is there any particular experience or any particular feedback that maybe stands out that you received and said, you know what, Sharon, if it wasn't for you, the party wouldn't have, or the wedding, or any particular feedback that you received?
Yeah, I get that kind of feedback. Like that relief is like, it's like that is addicting. That feeling that I get from customers where they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for like doing this, because like, especially even if it's last minute, like it really takes a lot off your plate, like it's a big thing to have to cater food. It's a big thing to have to provide that for a party or a wedding. So to be able to hire and it be done right, and it to be like, and for it to look beautiful, like it really solves so many parts of like that specific, task. It's not like you're just putting chicken wings or pizza out. Right. And even if you were putting chicken wings and pizza out, like now you got to get like really nice plates and cutlery, and like you got to make it look cute. And how cute can you really make pizza and wings? Like, there's only so much you could do. You know what I mean? Right. So here, like, is something that like people really feel like, whoa, thank you so much. This is a big deal. So I think like especially like bridal, like that always feels that way because, you know, feeling that relief or feeling like, whoa, this really made such a big difference. And I also get the kind of feedback like, oh my God, that's all people were talking about. You know, like it was a part of the event. Like it was a thing, a part of it, you know, and that's always such good feedback. But I think like the relief makes me like, I think that the helper part in me like feel like, oh good, I'm so glad I could help you in that way.
I love that. You know, when I think about the way that you give and the way that you serve and plate, it's not just love, but you're bringing so much to it. You're bringing your culture, you're bringing in particular and specifically your mom, you're bringing your beautiful and contagious energy. It sets it apart from any other. And I think that's the feedback that you're getting, and this is why people need to order from you. You know, because it's literally love being in a box, love in a spread, however you need to order from Sharon, but it's literally love.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel, but like of course it's like these are strangers. Like that's not always going to translate. You can be super passionate about something, but how you deliver it and how you market it, it could all be right. But you know, that person's it's a natural, organic kind of energy. And like you gotta hope that it translates that way. So thank you for saying that, because like that's what I wanted to feel like. I wanted to feel like, oh my gosh, this person put so much thought into how this was going to make me feel. I appreciate that in a person.
Because you think about them. It's not just like, oh, Nia wants to order this and whatever. No, well, where's you put so much thought, and you've always said research, and like you put so much consider, like you said, the person, and I think it's shown once the product is complete.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I think I mean, so much. I feel like it's hard to get away with that with charcuterie because like every detail matters, right? Like the point of it is for it to be so appealing. You're like, it's not necessarily the thing that people immediately dig into right away. They want to see it. Like people like to take pictures. They like want to see like what part they want to start at first. Do I have the right wine for this? Like, what do I pair this with? Yeah, people take a second before they start. So it's not really something you want to get away with by being messy, you know, because they will notice. And that's not even the way that you want to be as a business anyway, but like specifically charcuterie, it's not something that like you kind of just like put together like really fast. You are taking the time to do that because, you know, people are taking a second to notice each part of it. So you want it to be good.
I love that. You know, going from the sector that you're in and now to this creative side and all the love and the experience and the research and just meeting so many customers and people. And I purposely waited to ask this question because it's normally the first question that I ask. But in all this experience and maybe a new version of you, who do you say that you are?
Wow, that's such a good question. Oh my gosh. I feel like depending on the day, I could tell you a different answer. Like
that's honest.
It really depends. I mean, I feel like all in all, who I am is like, I really love people. I really do. I mean, and that like shows up in like so many different ways in my life. But when it comes to food and hosting, I don't know. I think that those are the parts where I feel like it reminds me like, oh my God, life is so good. Like, you know, when you like take that moment of like the gathering moment where you're with your friends and you're laughing and, you know, like you're just taking the time. Those are the moments when I'm like, oh my God, life is so good. I I love everybody. I love people. I love community. I love food. Like those are the moments, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, and credit to my mom, my grandma, like these are women who like they knew what they're doing. They knew how to host. And my sisters are so much like that. Like I'm surrounded by people who know how to curate an experience. And you know, we inherited that skill to really notice and care and remember. Like those are the kinds of things. So I think like I would say like you do need to be a thoughtful kind of person to be in food, I think. And I do think that I am that. I care a lot about people. It really like there are things that will like feel like that is imprinted on me that this person feels this way, whether it's positive or negative, that maybe somebody else wouldn't care about. But I think, you know, when you grow up in a way where someone raises you to like really consider people and that like a lot of those kinds of like things are important, it's hard to, you know, get away from.
Yeah.
It's kind of like ingrained in you. So I think I am a thoughtful person, and I'm glad I am. It's I made a business out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And receiving that from you, being on the other end as a customer, a client, that is how it's taken, that you are considering us, that you are really enjoying. It's beautiful to be on the other side of it, and you enjoy what you do.
Oh yeah, it's so fun. It's hard not to, you know.
Yeah.
It's food and aesthetics, and like that's like everything. Like I love that, you know. Like I've always said, like I am like kind of a bougie person, and not in the way where I'm like I only wear designer. Not like that. Like more of the kind of person that's like I want, like if there's any bougie part of me, it's not gonna be like I'm splurging on clothes or shoes. It's more like, let's go out to this place and have this experience, you know? And I really appreciate people who also care about that. And when you're surrounded by like, you know, people who are either in the culinary industry or people who have been working in, you know, like in food for a long time, like that appreciation and love for food and experience is just like, it's a given. Like, of course, like that's what they're there for. They understand it. It's not even something you have to like really express. They know. And it feels kind of like an addicting energy when you're in that environment. It's, you know, what you're really trying to recreate that home feeling. And that's hard because the person you're competing with is your mom. How am I going to be able to compete with that? There's no way. Like your mom naturally can create like a experience, or you know, your dad or your grandma, they naturally have that because it's that connection. That's kind of hard to recreate when you're a stranger. So, you know, like in order to recreate that, like you got to be really intentional and you got to be thoughtful because you want to be able to have an understanding and get to know them. You're kind of getting to know them from a distance, right? So you got to really notice, and that's the part that feels so cool because when you get it right, people feel seen, and that's cool.
Oh my gosh. The only next question is, how do people contact you?
How do people contact me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I am like the most active on Instagram. You know, you can find me on the.gatheringtable.co. And you know, you just order through like the link in the bio. It's a Google form. It's pretty simple. I'm pretty active on there and like sometimes TikTok, but you know, we're coming along.
I am so proud of you. What's your email too?
Oh, it's thegatheringtable@gmail.com.
Perfect. I'm telling y'all, there's just not going to be any words. And so all you got to do is go on Instagram. And as soon as you see 1, 2, or 3 of the photos, You're going to order it for the baby shower, for the bridal shower, for the wedding, for the birthday party, for the business, for you and your husband, or you and your whoever.
For yourself, listen, do it for yourself. I had a customer one time was like, I'm looking at your boards, but I don't have an event and I don't have like to do. And I'm like, girl, if you don't just order for yourself.
Yes.
Just order for yourself. I'm the one making it. You don't think I can make something for you? Like, I can't. Yeah, like do it for yourself, or like it's definitely one of those things that's like it's and when you see it on my Instagram, it's even labeled luxury because it is like more of a higher end thing that you're gonna have at your event. But like I think that it feels kind of like a treat yourself kind of moment. Like, like I'm gonna order this. I had a bride who said, hey, it's not on the budget, but like it's my wedding. This is for me. And I was like, yes. If you don't order this, like, come on, it's for you. Like, this is your day. Why not spoil yourself? Like, why not? It's for you. You deserve it.
Listen. This is what Nia, get your words together. This is why Sharon is amazing in the gathering table. It is just honestly, just sit there for a second, everybody, and think what we said earlier, what Sharon said earlier, gathering. The moments when you have think about it and close your eyes. The moments when you have gathered with other people. How did you feel? What did you do? What is that smell? What does it look like? Did you touch somebody? And this is the experience that Sharon is bringing in. This is why she's not one of 100. She's one of one. You only get the gathering table here. She told you where to go on Instagram. You can email her.
Yeah.
Make 2025 a great year. And contact her. The table.
Thank you so much. Yes, exactly that.
You guys, we gotta have her back. We gotta. The next episode needs to be your skin and your beautiful hair and your.
Thank you.
And what are you on, a Colgate commercial? That's gonna be the next episode, y'all. So just stay tuned. But until then, Sharon Daniel, the gathering table, makes sure you contact her. And when you do, let her know that you heard it here on the Humanitarian Heartbeat podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Sharon. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I love what you do and you're amazing.
Thank you. I'm going to end on this, everybody. The gathering table. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us on the Humanitarian Heartbeat podcast. Remember, each conversation brings us closer to a world where compassion thrives. Stay connected, stay informed, and let's keep the heartbeat of humanity alive. Subscribe, share, and be a part of our journey to make a difference, one conversation at a time. Until next time, keep your hearts open, your minds curious, be a blessing to others, and give agape love. God bless.